Hey, what is up, everyone? It is Rich. All right, welcome to a Saturday video. I'm just winging this. I wanted to look at this book. This is a very selfish and self-serving video, but I, you know, just time is so precious for me that like the idea of chilling and looking at a book just isn't something that I can afford to do right now. But I can afford to justify it if I do it as a YouTube video. So I thought I would talk a little bit about Todd Mcfarlane. I would talk a little bit about Spawn. Talk a little bit about the black and white art, and we're gonna look at the Spawn Vault Edition. So I have both of them. I love them. If he put out a third one, even if it was Greg Capullo, I would still buy it. I'm down with the cause. Pretty much anything Todd would do, I would support. I really enjoy seeing his work. I've been a big fan the whole time that I've collected comics, and I don't see it ever changing. Signed by Todd. I met Todd briefly at San Diego Comic-Con a few years ago, but it wasn't like me meeting him like that. He was coming through Artist Alley, and he was stopping by everyone's table and saying hello. It was quite exciting. I've mentioned it in another video, I'm sure. But yeah, I saw him coming into Artist Alley. He was with his wife, Wanda. I think that's her name. Yeah, they were just cruising around and saying hello to everyone, and it was really exciting. You could see him coming down the row, and I was like, he's stopping at everyone's table. I'm like, three more people. He's going to stop here. And sure enough, he did. And I told him, I said, look, Todd, you don't know me. You don't know my pain. No. But I said, look, you're the reason that I do comic books. It's not even an exaggeration. I had a friend that basically called me up and said, get your ass down to this comic book store that I work at. You need to look at Spawn, buddy. And that's 100% true. And I went down and checked it out. Loved it. And if it wasn't for him, I would have never have gotten into comics. So I credit my friend and then Todd's art. It's crazy, right? And it's interesting too, I kind of thought about that I was going to do this video. This is interesting too. I thought this was really cool because I had glanced at a few pages before starting the video, and I was thinking, I wonder how tight he penciled this stuff. Like, what did the finished pencils look like? Because what you'll see a tiny bit of blue pencil on the pages, but not that much. And then I don't know if he just went from that to inks, or if he would pencil more, and then when he would erase it, the pencil would come up, but blue generally will stay down. But no, there's three things that I love about Todd that I can kick out really quick. There's probably more, but I love that Todd is stubborn. I love that he's incredibly driven. He's not a quitter. I don't know if those are all different things. You make the call on it. Maybe I'm listing up more things. I love that he wrote Spawn and created Spawn, and I love that he penciled and inked it. So it's like all of those things have stayed with me my whole career, and it's all I've ever wanted to do is to live that same dream. It's funny how all of this stuff is starting to connect. The cycle, the circle has come back around. But yeah, it's like that's all I've ever wanted to do. Is I've wanted to be a creator like someone like a Todd Mcfarlane, where you do your comic book and you write it and you draw the shit out of it, and you get out there and you meet the people and do it. I don't know. It's like it's just always been the thing. I love how 3D his art is. This is a good example. This spread in particular. It's fine that we're on this at this moment. This was one of those pieces that I saw that really made me want to draw. It was so three-dimensional, and there was so much kind of cool layering of different texture and detail on it. It just looked so cool. There's skulls and lettering that's drawn like, it has a depth to it. There's like cool foliage, bubbly stuff. Creepy dude with some sort of dead thing on his head. I mean, you can't make this. Well, naked fat guy. I mean, come on. Look at that. That's wonderful. I love these too. This piece in particular was a big catalyst. There's a double page spread in Spawn #1 too that I'll show. Was the first gatefold from the first issue that really blew me away. But all this stuff really was like, I was sold, man. And I started going back and trying to pick up a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man back issues. Spider-Man. I even have, what was it, Infinity Inc. that he did? I've never owned the Coyote issues, but I definitely would like to have them, just to have them. I've seen them. I've seen the art inside of it. I mean, he's definitely, it's interesting because we've talked about Stephen Platt a little bit on the channel, and Todd almost did the opposite, which was Todd was originally, well, at times inked by other people. And I think that Todd's work didn't look as good that way, but then he sort of evolved into, he started inking his own work, and it like, you went like, ah, yes, this is it. Stephen Platt actually kind of started backwards. It was like he started sort of doing more of a thing like this. And then as he went along in his career, at a time, more often than not, other people were inking him, and it changed the look to a slicker, more, I don't know if you would call it like a glossy look, or just more technically accurate. But there's really something quite appealing about very loose and energetic art, and anyone who's starting to follow me on Instagram, I think the one thing that they're noticing right away is I finally really, how would I explain it? For the longest time, I drew really, really fast. And the best analogy that I can give is if you imagine someone who wanted to be like a professional skateboarder, or like dirt bike rider, like a stunt rider on bikes. I would just go as fast as I could and try to do like a quadruple flip and then land it. And I had a low success rate, but the aggression to do it was there. And so after a while of hitting my head against the wall and crashing and burning, because I didn't have the techniques all nailed down to draw as fast as I just naturally draw, and put the information down in an accurate way. So I'd take it away. I took the speed away from myself, and it was very frustrating. And I felt like a wild horse that was being like held back in a stable, and all I wanted to do was bolt. But I learned a lot of stuff, and now I'm bolting, and I'm not gonna, like, I don't need to, like, at this point they'll balance out. It'll be uneven for a while, which is fine, because it usually will give your work sort of an interesting sort of feel. But yeah, it's like now I can really draw, and I can draw really fast. It's just being able to commit to it. The scariest part about what I'm doing right now will be inking it. That'll be the hardest part, is inking it so that it captures the kinetic energy of the pencils. But that's why something like this is good for me to look at, because Todd keeps the energy in his work. And then I know a lot of people struggle with that. You know, you do a sketch, it looks good, you refine the sketch, and somehow between the sketch and your finished drawing, it just like loses it. That's the trick, you know. You gotta blast it. So I thought this would be good for me to look at. Trying to look at looser and looser things. Doesn't mean that you're going to put out sloppy art. But it's like I want it to have that level of like balls and aggression. Whoa, my book is sliding. I'm going to try to hit this video at 20 minutes because I do actually need to get to work. So we'll get a good little preview of this. I've looked at this book a few times before. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to start to skip ahead here in a second. We'll look at like 2 more pages from this issue, and then we'll hop ahead to a little further. These stories were really cool too. You know, the different writers came in and did stuff, and he started introducing more and more new characters. Although he was kind of doing that all along. Every issue or 2, we were getting sort of like a new look into the Spawn universe, which was really, really fun. I mean, and I think, so here's the thing, and I hate to compliment something by detracting to something else. I think it's like you see it all the time. Like someone, they'll go whatever it is. It could be a movie, an actor, a musician, whatever it is. But the compliment is always like this kind of, they say it like this. Like, this is way better than like so and so stuff, which it's like you could just say like, dude, this is fucking awesome. But you know, they'll go like, you're such a better guitar player than this player. It's like, well, what are you dragging the other person into the scenario for? You could just say that you're a fucking badass. But I know people like to compare things, so it's a natural instinct. But yeah, so there's something exciting for me about seeing a brand new book with brand new characters, and you get to experience the evolution and the relationship that these characters have. You get to see the history unfold. And something that's a little tiny bit problematic for me and can sort of get a little boring with characters that have been around longer is I don't feel like there's really going to be any surprises. I don't really feel like anything is at stake when I read the stories, but that's just me. But yeah, so there's always something fun about, a new title. And you're learning and growing. Like, okay, so this is a bad guy that's in Spawn's universe. Oh, okay, he's in hell. It's like, can the Spawn character die? Will he be someone else? You know what I mean? There's a lot of what ifs. We kind of know instinctively that if we read some books that really nothing's going to happen. But that's the natural evolution of things anyway. This is cool. That's like the longer something's around, it's going to become a little more predictable. But, with that, there's some people really like that too, You can count on it. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to look at this page, and then we're going to go further into the story. We'll look at a different issue. It's funny, too, because I really can't enjoy the art while I'm shooting a video like this. Like, I'm really literally not seeing anything. I'm just making sure that the book stays still, and then I kind of go across the book. But I'll have to watch this back myself to actually be able to, like, visually kind of check everything out. Oh, my back is killing me right now too. Someone asked a question. I have no idea if they'll actually watch this video because it's not going to be titled anything that would lead them to follow it. Oh, I guess I could reply to them and say it. So there was a person asking, I think that they had dyslexia, and they were wondering if that would be like a game, like a deal killer in terms of being an artist. And it's a tough question to answer. Only reason being is that I'm not a doctor and I don't really fully understand dyslexia and how bad it could be. But I will say this, which will be actually very encouraging to you. I follow 2 artists on Instagram. One of them is a quadriplegic that draws with his mouth, I think. He's cranking out art all the time. So that's someone that overcame probably a bigger obstacle than you might have with your eyes. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know how severe dyslexia can be, but and I follow another artist that's got a similar thing. I think he either doesn't have arms. Then I follow a girl that doesn't have arms and she paints. Then a third artist that's, again, something similar, missing arms or something like that, and also draws. 2 of them do it on the computer with their mouths, I think, and the girl, I think, paints with her feet. Honestly, it's not like you don't just go like, oh, that's like pretty good for someone with no arms. It's nice looking stuff, and they're still just learning the process of doing it. So, you're fine. You're just going to need to learn how to draw around your disability. There's another artist that, is a guitar player. And for some reason, like, he either can't remember things for a long time, something like that. You just have to learn to work around your disability if you want to consider it a disability. And then my friend James, he's had 2 strokes now. He's partially paralyzed or nearly paralyzed on one side of his body. Luckily for him, it actually is the opposite. Like, he's left-handed and it's his right side that's affected right now. What's up, James? I know you'll probably watch this. maybe James can comment on it, but dude, talk about a fucking setback. And he's a champ, man. The guy's been drawing. He just literally got out of the hospital after 2 months in the hospital and got home. But he's been drawing the whole time he's been in the hospital. So, you just have to commit to it. But, you can do it. I don't think that dyslexia should hold you back with your art. So don't let it. Don't use it as a crutch. Use it as something to make you focus more and dig in. That would be my advice. But yeah, our eyes and our backs, and obviously just your general health in general, are so huge for artists. Like I said, my back is killing me right now, but I'm actually getting a new chair really soon. My chair is dying. So this is funny. I'll give you guys, this is a tip. Pro tip. So I bought this chair from Staples 3 years ago, and I bought the what is the warranty called? Fair trade. I got the fair trade warranty for 3 years. It was like $27, something like that. I think the chair was like $300, something like that. 12 days before the expiration of my fair trade warranty was up, I had it with the chair. It really was falling apart. It had been having problems for a long time, but I knew that I felt like that I was like, I kind of remembered when I bought the chair, and I was like, and they refunded the full amount for the chair. They literally, I used it for 3 years. They basically just refunded me my whole money for it. And I'm not suggesting that you do some sort of scam, but get the warranty on your chairs and things like that if you can afford to kick in the extra money for it. Fairtrade's a legit company. I give them high praise for that, because they literally didn't have to do that. They could have just fixed the chair, said like, well, look, we'll give you like $20. You've used the chair for 3 years. I think you had a good run with it. But anyway, but yeah, as soon as that check comes, I'm buying a new chair. And I'm going to get the fair trade warranty on it. I guarantee that. See, you get all kinds of weird pro tips from me. I'm telling you, I share all the secrets. Secrets. I think someone was telling me on... It might have been this issue that some other pencilers actually pitched in. I'm not saying these pages, to be clear. There's a scene with an alley and tons of like guards and people fighting in one of the issues in this book. And yeah, someone said, I think that people pitched in, like Todd might have brought it to like a meeting at one of the studios. I think he did that at Wildstorm one time. So Todd actually he's a traveling worker. Jim does that too. But yeah, Todd, I think, came to Wildstorm one time for an image meeting, which was actually very, very exciting. I didn't get to meet any of them at that point. I was just literally like nothing. I wasn't even a scrub. Well, I was a scrub, but I was like a low-level scrub. Oh, and Ben, if you watch this video, look at the back here. I just did a lesson on backs. Do you see how he pulled out almost all the detail, but he did little shadows? Remember the example that I gave you of something similar to this? This is what I'm talking about. The back most of the time is relaxed, and you don't need to draw the shit out of it. It's like learn the muscles to forget them. See, look, you guys are even getting little lesson tips. That happens a lot, though. I'll give a lesson, and then I do a book review like this or something, and it crosses over. But yeah, so while they were in the meeting, if I'm not mistaken, Todd actually handed out pages to a few of the interns, and they were like filling in blacks on the pages or inking buildings, something like that. That's how I remember it. Now, if it could be accurate or not. Maybe it was just a fever dream. But I would like to believe it's a true memory. Oh, look, this was interesting too, because he draws it like Jay Lee. It's Chapel. I'm pretty sure it's Chapel. Yeah, it was funny, but it's like you could really tell that like Todd, it looks like McFarlane, but you could see that he probably pulled out the Jay Lee Chapel comic is like reference. Shit is so fucking cool, man. I'm telling you, God, I feel so lucky to be able to finally have a chance to draw a comic book the way that I want to draw it and not have to worry about, again, for me, I had mental hangups that I wouldn't be able to do what I wanted to do, So it's not to say that that's a reality. That's what I projected. If I went into the system wouldn't work for me. I needed to be autonomous with you. Just didn't. It was like it was weird is I used to kick around ideas of like how I could pull things off. This is going back several years before crowdfunding really took off. And, like Image was the one company where you went, well, like people go to Image and they do this stuff, but it's, and I know people can relate to this because you don't have the information. There's people out there that would go like, well, crowdfunding probably wouldn't be for me, but my dream is to do an Image book. In fact, I know Hunter from my Patreon wants to do a book through Image, but like when I was considering it, I didn't even know what the hell you would do. I just assumed it was for people that were already successful. Like, if you had a book at Marvel or you had done something for DC or Vertigo, then at a convention, you probably talked to someone from Image and said, hey, me and this famous writer, we have an idea for a book and we'll bring it to Image. It didn't seem like something that like just anyone could do. So I didn't know. And then a few years ago, I started having friends that were doing it. But at that point, I was already looking at other options. Webtoons was one I was eyeballing pretty hard, to be honest. It's just the format was a little weird, and it's the what would you call it, the content that they have over there. It's not really so much American superhero comics. There is some. Top Cow uploaded books there not too long ago. I think you can read Cyberforce, like a huge run of Cyberforce, not just the Silvestri stuff, but like long runs of things. And there could be a couple of books from Top Cow there. It's free. There's ads, but it's not terrible. But yeah, you can scroll through it on your phone. I mean, I would recommend Webtoons is just something kind of fun to check out if you want to see comic books online. There's some really, really cool stuff. And lots of different, I would say I've got a lot of different tastes that I like. So, okay, I'll zoom in on this really close. Todd actually posted a drawing today as I was getting ready for this video on Instagram. Ninja Spawn. Look cool. I'm hoping that the toys start to take off again. It's funny. There's a little bit of like Frank Miller and Todd stuff. You can really see it up here. It could be more coincidental, but I've always gotten the impression that Spawn has got a little bit of a Frank Miller kind of thing going on in it. I could see it in his early issues. It's sorry, we're at 22 minutes, but I can't stop it now. We'll just go to 32. This will be fun for me to watch back. Plus, I've been kind of rambling. I think it's good information, though. People seem to like my rambles. I actually was funny as I had CC'd a bunch of people in a note welcoming them to Patreon, but someone replied to me, and when I replied, it was actually a reply all, and I didn't realize it. But I had basically said, I said to him that it's weird how YouTube has evolved for me, and that I've gone into a teacher role. I used to think I was more of a cheerleader for people and kind of like a word of warning on how hard it is to be an artist and maintain a long career. But now, I mean, I'm doing the lesson thing, and it's been great. It really has. I've learned a lot from doing it, and it's given me a lot of confidence, and it's been all win. But I said, sometimes I'll listen to the videos back, and I can separate myself from me and go like, man, I hope I don't come off like a know-it-all, because I don't know it all. I'm trying to learn it and understand it. So when I do the videos, I'm trying to learn, but I'm also trying to explain what I do know or what I do see. But I've watched many of my videos back immediately and disagreed with something that I've said. It's not uncommon. And sometimes I say things and it sounds like I mean something else. So I get that too. Someone yesterday thought that I didn't know who Gary Martin was. My reaction was that I didn't recognize the pieces of Gary Martin drawing because I know him more as an inker, and his inking line is pretty brushy and a little thicker. And it was a Princess Leia, fairly like liney piece. But definitely, if you listen to it, it sounded like I didn't know who Gary Martin was. But that's not accurate. It was just the way that I said it, the pauses. There's all these little nuances that fucked me up. No. Violator. It's not funny, but I think today there's this guy that's got a toy room video. I've watched it so many times. It's really long too. I'll put it on while I'm working, not watch it. But I think it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. If you put like toy room tour in your search engine on YouTube, it's one of the first ones that comes out. Like I said, it's either 1 hour and 45 minutes or maybe slightly over 2 hours. He has the most insane collection of toys, and there's a ton of the Mcfarlane stuff. It's really, really fun to watch. And his toy room is just stupid big. So I'd recommend it. I bet I've gone through it at least 5 times, maybe 10. It's fun because if you're drawing, you can like look up and sort of just take a little peek at the different stuff. All the different Spawn, when they got further down the line and they were at series 27 and 31 or whatever they were, some really interesting ones that came out. It was a point where less people were collecting them, but some of them are really, really cool. So my hope is that maybe that Todd returns to some of that sort of idea. These buildings are great. Yep. Todd always had great color on this book. As fun as it is to look in black and white, I've never really been bumming on the colors that Todd had, so it's nice. I like the lighting on the legs. Yeah, it's cool. Lots to learn here, layers. The layout, how he spots black and moves your eye through the thing, the pacing, size of the panels, the shots that he uses, how cool he draws, texture. There's a lot you can peel back the skin on. Okay, I gotta go. My phone's ringing. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, have a great day and bye.